from Wedge Me This, obviously. Stuck in traffic. I'm just trying to get to my class. If anyone knows what HasWhopper class is, you'll know that it's very, very, very boring. But anyways, I just want to talk about the NFL a little bit this week. Thursday night, tonight, we got a divisional game, which is cool. They're always fun. The Giants and Washington. Guys, don't overthink this one. Washington is a much better team. All right, overall, they're a better team. Daniel Jones is going to struggle against this defense, just like he did against Denver's defense. A lot's being made of that Justin Herbert had such a good game against this defense. Well, Justin Herbert and Daniel Jones are not the same player. Hello, Enslow. They are very different. And on top of that, the Chargers' weapons are better than the Giants' weapons if the Giants don't have all their weapons. What's up, D-Way? And the Giants don't have all their weapons. Just like last week, they didn't have their tight end. Barkley was a shell of himself. Galladay was coming off injuries. The offensive line is all beat up, all right? Going against Washington and Chase Young and those guys is not good if your offensive line is beat up. That's not a good plan. So, guys, just don't overthink this one. If you want to be on a side of this, and I put this out in my primetime video, it's a Washington side here. I know people. What's up, Larry? What's up, buddy? I know people are going to want to jump on the Giants and stuff because the trends tell you to. Because the Giants have won 7 out of 9 and all this. But guys, that was a different Washington team. This same Washington team is the one that won the division last year. And guys, and I put this out in my video, Heineke took the champs, Tom Brady and the champs, to the limit in the playoffs, all right? Last week he came in after Fitzpatrick's hurt. He didn't play bad, guys. He played well. Just the Chargers are a good football team. All right, and they held on to a lead and they won the game. He had all week to practice, and he's got all the first team reps. He's going to be on board with McLaurin, Scary Terry, Logan Thomas. Guys, Heineke's going to have a really good game this week. I mean, in fact, it's probably going to be very similar to last week's Giants game with Denver, where the one team is just that much better than the other. And so that's why I like Daniel Jones's rushing prop. I put it out on a short just a minute ago. But Daniel Jones's rushing prop is very good. It's all the way down to 20.5 now. So all he has to do is run for 21 yards. Well, he's going to be running for his life all day. So you're going to get 4 or 5 or 6 5-yard scrambles out of him, and probably a big scramble where he runs for 20. So it's almost like a freebie handicap. The only thing that could kill this is if he gets hurt. Well, I mean, you run that risk with every bet. So, oh yeah, Washington. If you got Washington on the money line, you got a winner. Guys, Washington is going to win this football game. They're at home. They're the better team. I actually think Heineke, obviously he's not as experienced as Fitzpatrick. As the starter with Fitzpatrick, I feel like Heineke gives you more from an athletic standpoint, more from the only thing he doesn't give you is Fitzpatrick's experience. And there's a lot to be said for experience. So, but they're going to run the ball. They're going to pound away with Gibson. Gibson's going to have a good game. Logan Thomas is going to have a good game, and McLaurin is going to have a good game because Heineke's going to have a good game. And they're not going to turn the ball over, guys. And they're going to play defense. And they're going to win a slugfest where they just keep the Giants under control. And that's how they're going to attack this. And I know Ron Rivera very well. All right? I've bet with and against him on multiple occasions. Last week's game was such a down the middle game. So when sorry, I have no idea why that just decided to try to reconnect. It doesn't make any sense because I am literally, I don't have any idea what's going on with my service. I am literally smack dab in the, sorry, Again, I don't have any idea. This is very frustrating. This in and out stuff. Sorry about that. But guys, don't overthink this one. And if you want the safest play on this game, if you don't want to deal with the game, you don't want to deal with the divisional matchup, you don't want to deal with none of that, just bet that total for Daniel Jones's rushing yards. Right? Just bet that over. When I bet it twice now. So I bet it at over 22, and now I bet it at over 20 and a half as well. Because for some reason it's been getting knocked down. So people are going under on it, which just baffles me because nothing about it says go under on it. I don't see where this is so frustrating. I have no idea what's going on. I am literally in the middle of Denver and I have 5G with 5 bars. I feel like I can't give those kind of plays away anymore, guys, because with me selling my picks to people, if I start giving away parlays and stuff, then I'm essentially taking money away from them. I'm doing them a disservice. So the people that chose to buy my packages, that's why I haven't been putting out those plays and stuff this year, because I feel like I'm taking away from them by just giving them out for free. So I'm not going to be doing that this year on the primetime stuff. Anything you want about primetime. So if you want Thursday, no, okay, so that's the great thing about the NFL, right? Sacks come off of the passing yards in the NFL. So it's not like college where sacks come off the rushing yards. So that's a big, huge difference, and that's a big thing to know when you're betting these, right? So sacks do not come off the rushing yards in the NFL. They come off the passing yards. So that's a great question, and that's a thing that if you're betting props, you should know. That's a huge thing. Great question. That's awesome. And that's something you can look up. Obviously, you can look all that stuff up. Check my answers. But so, guys, if you have primetime questions, I'll answer anything about the primetime games based upon what I'm picking and everything, because that's what I'm giving away for free. But as far as the Sunday games go, besides Sunday night, guys, those are purchased things, and I just feel like I'd be doing a disservice if I gave that away for free to the people that have purchased it. And thank you to all the people that have purchased it. So we did great last week. We're going to keep that up this week. So one of the things I want to talk about, and I hope all the people that purchased watch this, because week 2, and you can look back in history, it's the hardest week to handicap the NFL, because you have your eye test from week 1, you have statistics from week 1 that people tend to look at. It's just it's overreaction week. It's what's referred to as overreaction week, right? I don't know. But so overreaction week, you're sitting here, things are like, man, I just saw the Houston Texans play so well. Guys, they played well against the Jacksonville Jaguars that are a shell of a football team. All right, so don't buy into that. Now, I did tell my subscribers, the people that bought in, see Cody, I did tell them, people that bought in, I told them to take Houston on the money line. It was my money line play of the week. All right, it was not my upset play of the week because I didn't feel like it was an upset. But as far as money lines go, that's what I put out as my money line last week. All right, why did I put that out? Because I knew Jacksonville wasn't a good football team, and you're getting value by just playing. Hello, old number 7. You're getting value last week by just playing Houston on the line. They were at home. They were supposed to win that football game. There's 2 bad teams playing. All right. So my upset pick of the week last week was obviously the Raiders. All right. Why did I choose the Raiders? It had nothing to do with the spread, it had nothing to do with any of that. It had everything to do with the situation they're in. They're at home, opening week. Now, I understand they opened that stadium last year, but there was no fans. So they got the first chance to have Raiders fans from Las Vegas. And they pulled it off, right? Now, the game was crazy, sure. But when you're betting, the only thing that matters is the final score. So in that case, don't get me wrong, I don't think the Raiders were overmatched in that game. I think it went about how it was supposed to go. A little bit of craziness at the end, but overall, I mean, it went pretty much how I thought it would go. And if you read my breakdown, I basically told you how the game would go besides the goofiness. So, again, so a lot of times on week 2, people overreact, okay? So are the Raiders better than Baltimore? The answer is no. The answer is that the Raiders beat Baltimore in a situation that was friendly to them, all right? If the Raiders would have had to go to Baltimore, they probably would have lost by 10. So the situation, raucous crowd, brand new stadium, they were playing up for those fans. And guys, those things happen. Those are the things that when you buy my package, those are the things you're paying me to know. Right? So when you purchase my package, you're paying me to know those answers. And so week 1, people got a good taste of why sometimes it doesn't have the spread has no bearing on the game. Why sometimes even the teams don't have all that much bearing. Sometimes it's just the situation. And so I think we got a few of those this week as well. So if you haven't got involved with my package, you can do it on YouTube or you can do it on my website. Now, my website, if you purchase, you're going to get all the week 1 stuff, but I'm going to get your email and your phone number, hopefully, and you will get your week 2 stuff sent to you. So if you want week 2, you should get on that. I'm almost done with the workups. Obviously, I don't send them out till Friday or Saturday for the Sunday games because things can change, and I don't want to have to keep texting people or anything like that every 10 minutes saying, okay, get off this game, get on this game. So I usually try to wait a little bit and see how much stuff changes, because there is a few things, a few players that I'm curious if they're going to play or not. But overall, week 2 is pretty set in stone. But anyway, so that's what we're looking at is, so when you're handicapping week 2, the first thing you should do is you should go back and look at your week 1 handicaps. If you thought in your week 1 power ratings and your week 1 workups, if you thought that the Jets were a bad football team week 1, well, they're a bad football team week 2, right? If you thought that, the Dallas Cowboys were a high-scoring team week 1, it wasn't a fluke, If you think that, let's go this way. If you think, and so what I'm saying is, that's one easy way for you to manage the week 2 overreaction is to go back to week 1. Go back to week 1, go back to your preseason power ratings, guys, because things didn't change that much, right? So there was a couple teams I had rated lower than most people, right? I didn't think the Buffalo Bills are as good as they look on paper, right? So week 1, I had them not as good as the Steelers. I thought the Steelers were better than most people's power ratings, and they were. So I don't think Miami's a good football team, all right? They won a game they shouldn't have won last week, all right? They got beat on every aspect of the game except for the scoreboard. So if you go look at that, the stats are super lopsided. And even on top of that, it took a fumble in their end of the field at about the 30 to keep the Patriots from winning that game. If you could have made a worse beat, that was the worst beat last week. All right, the worst beat was them. Because just the dominance the Patriots showed in the game, and they still came out a loser. That has to do with a rookie quarterback a little bit, I think, but also it has to do with a little bit of growing pains, right? That was his first real game action, real hits all the time in the NFL. The first time he saw like crazy defenses and stuff. I'm talking about Mac Jones here, right, guys? So what I'm saying is that this week you got Miami playing a Buffalo team that is still really good. I think they're the fourth best. They're the fourth best team in the AFC. I think, right? They're still really good, and they're going to a not very good Miami team. So take that for what you will. I know there's a lot of Miami fans out there, and they think that for whatever reason they're headed in the right direction. I do not. I think that Tua is nothing more than a generic version of Tim Tebow. He's not very accurate, and he doesn't have the mobility Tebow had. So he doesn't have the power running. He's fragile. So I actually think this will be his last season as a starting quarterback, probably his last season on the field. I don't think he has the ability to be a long-term NFL quarterback. Besides the injury stuff, he's not accurate enough. His decision-making process is not fast enough. When you play at Alabama, you're better than every team you play. So you have better receivers than every team you play. Your offensive line is better. Your defense keeps giving you the ball back. At Miami, he's not that. They're not better than every team they play. And so he's going to have to make plays. I just don't think he's that guy. So he's going to be playing against someone that this week that is that guy. So in Josh Allen is that guy. So guys, just keep that in mind. So these are overreactions, right? People are going to look at the Bills like, oh man, they got just slaughtered by the Steelers on defense, right? The Steelers defense just locked them down. Well, guys, that's the Steelers defense. I know everyone remembers last year when they kind of crashed at the end of the year, but the reason they crashed was because the defense was all beat up, right? The defense isn't beat up now. They're all healthy. So you saw TJ Watt. He looked like an animal out there. So Minkah Fitzpatrick was everywhere. I mean, these guys are an elite top 2 or 3 defense in the NFL in the Steelers. So don't buy into that the Buffalo Bills got shut down. The Buffalo Bills got shut down by one of the best defenses in the game, right? And on top of that, if you'll go rewatch the highlights on that, Josh Allen missed 2 deep balls that could have changed that game. They were for sure touchdowns, all right? I bet he doesn't miss those this week. So just think about that stuff when don't overreact. Don't overreact to the Houston being good. Don't overreact to New England being a bad team. Don't overreact to the Bills not being a good team. Here's a crazy one, okay? Because I don't really know how to react to this one. Are the Eagles a good team or not? I'm not sure yet, but we're going to know this week. They play San Francisco. So we're gonna get a good glimpse of how good the Eagles really are this week, right? So that's a good game to stay away from. That's a good game to just gain information off of, right? You don't have to play every game. You don't have to play every team. You don't have to play every pick. Let's see what they do against a good defense, against a team that's going to score on them. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with the Eagles. If they play a good game, they don't even have to win this game. If they're in this game in the fourth quarter, I'm going to start leaning Eagles a lot of times because from what I saw against Atlanta, the Eagles defense, in my opinion, played very well, right? Atlanta's offense is good, right? They have Ridley. They have the Gage kid. They have the new tight end, Matt Ryan. They're a good offense, and they got stifled. They got held down by a very fast-looking Eagles defense to me. So let's kind of see. And Hurts looked good. Hurts didn't make mistakes. He moved around well. It looked like a starting quarterback to me. But again, this is week 2. Don't overreact. Don't overreact to everything, guys. The teams you thought were good before week 1 are probably still good, right? And the teams you thought were bad previous to week 1 are probably still bad. So there's a reason why you thought that in the beginning, and it was a talent level thing, right? Before any games were played, you were looking at talent levels, right? Well, them talent levels didn't change after 1 week, So here's another overreaction. Is Tennessee a bad offense? They didn't score hardly anything on Arizona. Are they a bad offense? Well, of course not. They got A.J. Brown, they got Derrick Henry, and they got Julio Jones. They're not a bad offense. They got shut down based on an amazing performance by Chandler Jones. That's what happened. Chandler Jones had a game of his life, 2 forced fumbles, 5 total sacks, and he wrecked the game. Great job. One single player on defense sometimes can wreck a game, right? We've seen Strahan do it. We've seen Khalil Mack do it. We've seen Von Miller do it. J.J. Watt do it, right? A lot of times it's a defensive end, and they just wreck the game because they're beating their guy repeatedly. So don't buy into that too much, all right? Now, it's not like it got any easier for the Titans this week with Seattle, but what I'm saying is that they're probably going to score more than 13 points. So just keep that in mind, all right? They're probably not going to get held down like that again. It's not viable, not with the weapons they got. The talent is there. Every team has bad games. Every team has good games, all right? Where teams fall is somewhere in the middle. So just keep all that in mind on week 2, guys. Don't go jumping out there on bandwagon plays because the Texans beat the Jaguars handily. Right? That's not a good football play. It's just not. All right. So just keep all those stuff in mind. If it looks like an overreaction thing, it is. If you think, wow, there's no way this team should be favored by 10, then there's no way that team should be favored by 10. Or if you're looking at it and you're like, how is this team not favored by 7? Well, there's a reason for that. And that is because your initial look week 1 or previous to week 1 was probably the correct one, and week 2 is the overreaction week. So Vegas has to combat the overreactors, and there's a lot of weird movement in the lines. So just keep all that in mind when you're betting this week. For my subscribers, for my people that have purchased, I'm going to have all that in the breakdown. I'm going to be talking about overreaction and stuff. So, guys, just keep all that in mind. And hey, remember, it's about making good bets. And guys, sometimes good bets are easy bets. Sometimes it's the easiest bet. Like in this Thursday night game, the Daniel Jones rushing over is too low. It's at 20.5 when I last looked at it. It's too low. He's going to be running for his life all game. So that means he's going to run across the line of scrimmage and try to get yards. So at 20.5, if he has 4 runs in the game of 5 yards and 1 run of 6 yards, he would get there. If he has one run of 21 yards, he would get there. So just think about how easy this is to win. So sometimes it's all about just being easy, right? If it's easy, if the situation is very easy. Here's another good example. All right, when you're betting interception props, you want to look at teams that are going to throw the ball a lot against a good defense. Right? If you throw the ball 45 times against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, you're probably going to throw an interception. If you throw the ball 45 times against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, you're probably going to throw an interception. So you see what I'm saying? You're giving yourself 45 or so opportunities that one of them is probably going to result in a tip ball or a Hail Mary interception or just a bad throw or a great defensive play. I mean, it's just so many chances at one result. And so think about those things when you're going in, okay? So for example, when you're talking about the Monday night game, the Packers and Detroit, right? Guys, Jared Goff's going to throw an interception in the game because Aaron Rodgers is not going to have another 3-point performance. So he's going to light him up, and Jared Goff's going to have to throw every down. So eventually the Packers are going to get one of those footballs. So there's one play for you. There's a good one. Goff to throw an interception. Guys, he's going to have to throw a lot. It's just probability, right? Quarterbacks, a good quarterback averages about 14 interceptions a year, right? There's only 17 games. So that's an almost 1 per game average. So right there, you have a good chance, right? If you look at the good quarterbacks, when they throw over 40 times, that interception goes up. So keep that in mind. I got to go to this stupid class. You guys have a great day. This is Jacob from Wager Me This, and I will keep you guys informed on any changes and see what happens.